The only villains bigger than Thanos so far have to be the costumes Marvel actors are forced to wear. They've been compared to torture. Check out why these 20 Marvel actors hated their costumes, and what 5 surprisingly loved theirs.
So is this how you normally look?
More or less.
Number 1. The MCU's biggest complainer. Tom Holland has spoken about how much he dislikes his Spidey suit many times over the years. The poor guy has to time his bathroom breaks because it takes around 45 minutes to get out of the suit.
Again, I asked for a zip and I didn't get one.
Part of the struggle taking off the Spidey suit is that the zipper gets caught sometimes.
And it's a nightmare. I'll have like half of it off and I'm like, please just get this thing off of me.
But there is a fix to this problem.
That's why we have bottles of lube.
He struggles with the mask too. Poor Tom has to drink his Frappuccino through a straw that comes down through the spider suit eye socket. Zendaya's wondering, what happens if he pukes in costume?
This is a genuine concern!
Yes.
Tom also had to wear a freaking thong, no exceptions. And he can't really see much of anything, which resulted in him getting punched in the head when he wasn't given a sound cue.
No, I'm not okay! I just got punched in the face!
And he doesn't find the suit flattering at all, saying, "It makes you look small in all the places you don't want to look small." Number 2. Women aren't the only ones who get objectified in superhero costumes. Andrew Garfield felt uncomfortable in the Spidey suit because it was completely skin tight, saying, "I knew there were paparazzi taking terrible, unflattering shots of my everything." Number 3. Tobey Maquire is the only one of the 3 whose Spidey costume was updated to accommodate bathroom needs. His costume was remodeled to include a vent, so he could go, without having to take the entire suit off. It only makes sense. Time is money in Hollywood, and a long bathroom break can cost a lot of money. They did it for OG Spidey in the early 2000s, so they can do it for the rest of the actors now. Just saying. Number 4. Not everybody in the Spider-Verse hated their costume. Jake Gyllenhaal might be the number 1 fan of his costume.
I didn't know how much I was gonna love it.
He pushed to have it in more scenes. Gyllenhaal wandered around in the suit for many of his not-so-super moments, instead of wearing street clothing. He didn't have to, he wanted to, asking, "Can I be in the costume? I really feel the character, I get it." Number 5. At least his day ends on a high note. Paul Bettany's skin was getting tattered working 6 days a week. He ends his day sipping on a beer, chilling in a sauna to help loosen the costume from his body. The most frustrating part of the costume, though, is that it makes it hard to hear. Number 6. Turns out spandex aren't so hot. Scarlett Johansson had her dermatologist on speed dial. She was consistently so hot and sweaty that it gave her skin conditions, and she was wringing out her socks every day. She also came close to a heat stroke while recording, and the suit got destroyed so often she was in a new one every few days. It was tolerable at best on day 1, but by day 3 she was longing for fresh spandex. Number 7. Definitely less than super. That's what Elizabeth Olsen had to say about her costume. She's the only MCU hero with visible cleavage, which she finds is kind of limiting during action sequences. Number 8. Not all superheroes hate their capes, though. Salma Hayek loved her costume despite fears of claustrophobia. She loved the look so much, she cried when she first saw herself wearing it. Number 9. A love-hate relationship. The thrill built for Simu Liu with every piece of his costume he tried on. When he got that third and final piece on, it was just magic. It sent chills up his spine.
And it just all of a sudden got so emotional.
Unfortunately, as much as he loved it, after 5 days in it, the zippers were incredibly annoying, and he admitted to hating it. Expectations meet reality. Number 10. Sometimes an actor just needs to breathe. Like his co-stars, Sebastian Stan struggled with the heat. He feared falling over or passing out. Some days he would rip his mask off his face just to get a breath of fresh air. Flexibility was a major issue, so rehearsing out of costume didn't translate once he got on set. But he's a pro and chose to wear the least mobile arms because they looked the coolest.
I always wanted to make it tighter.
Number 11. Back in the good old days, costumes were even worse. They're much more comfortable now than they were before.
Nobody knows how uncomfortable those costumes are.
Willem Dafoe's costume for No Way Home is more flexible, and he can do more in it.
There have been upgrades on the costume, let's say.
Originally, to be fitted for the Green Goblin costume, it took them 8 hours of sticking pieces to him. Now, he just gets his body scanned and his job is done. Number 12. Less CGI almost always makes a movie better. Jamie Foxx is much happier to be his own skin tone in Spider-Man No Way Home.
And I didn't have to be blue and things like that.
Jamie didn't particularly hate being blue, but now he's thrilled to look more like himself. He felt like his old costume was just trying too hard. Number 13. Just smile through the pain. OG Venom actor Topher Grace's fangs were bruising his gums. And like many of the other superhero actors, he had no way to use the bathroom in his costume either. Number 14. From puppets to CGI. Alfed Molina may just be the exception in the Spider-Verse. He absolutely loved the upgrades to Doc Ock. Being released from the puppetry allowed him a lot more freedom with the character.
And he loved it. Like, he absolutely loved it.
Number 15. You may take his name, but you will never take his armor. Falcon and the Winter Soldier actor Wyatt Russell, who played the new Cap, found his costume was like the rest of the Marvel gangs, except tack on painful. The suit was so bad that he had an old shoulder injury flare up. Number 16. What's worse, struggling to breathe or not being able to scratch that itch? Chadwick Boseman's spandex were tight and suffocating to get into, restricting his chest. He suffered from anxiety attacks. When that happened, he had to get the suit off as quickly as possible. And there was sweat rolling down his body that made him itchy and he couldn't scratch. Number 17. This reminds us of that old wives' tale about peeing in a public pool. Rebecca Romijn's Mystique costume is the most revealing of all the Marvel characters. She was naked aside from paint and her prosthetics, which made her super uncomfortable. And going to the bathroom was embarrassing because there was blue paint on everything. Everybody knew when she used the bathroom because the toilet seat was blue. Number 18. Why didn't they design Mystique to have a bodysuit from the beginning? While Romijn's 8-hour makeup process was streamlined for Jennifer Lawrence down to around 3, it still wasn't a fun process. And going to the bathroom was super awkward for her too. She revealed she would have to pee out of a funnel standing up. She joked that the designers thought, she doesn't go to the bathroom, she's a girl. And J-Law had such a negative reaction to the blue paint that they had to call a doctor to set. After that, they gave her a bodysuit instead. Number 19. The suit broke the poor man. In the first Iron Man movie, Robert Downey Jr. wore a full metal suit that weighed 100 pounds. RDJ struggled with breathing in the mask, was blinded by its LED lights, and the suit was pinchy. Downey admitted, "I'm not claustrophobic, but after moving around in it for a couple hours, your spirit is kind of broken and you're like, okay, time to bring in the stunt team." Number 20. This actress liked her suit more than her wellness eggs. While RDJ was struggling with his metal suit, Gwyneth Paltrow loved every minute in hers. While she only spent a couple days in it, she would have gladly put the armor back on.
Yeah, I was like, don't we need another scene where Pepper's flying around?
Number 21. He got off lucky for a solid second. Captain America's helmet gave Chris Evans a headache. It was tight, sweaty, uncomfortable, and made it hard to hear. While he didn't like his usual costume, he did really love his stealth suit from the Winter Soldier. He liked that suit so much he kept pushing for them to bring it back, but the classic red won out. Number 22. He did not get off lucky at all. Chris Hemsworth has had a few not-so-great experiences with costumes. The first is with the regular Thor costume. By month 3 in the suit, it gets hard to wake up and put the thing on every morning. The fat suit was also terrible. The thing weighed about 60 to 70 pounds before adding armor. And, like every other suit, it was restrictive, uncomfortable, and super hot. Number 23. You can't sit with us if you don't have a cool suit. Mark Ruffalo just felt plain embarrassed. While all his other actor friends got to wear cool-looking suits all the time, he was just done up in a mocap suit. He never felt as cool or as intimidating as the others. Number 24. I'm melting! Dave Bautista spent 5 hours in the makeup chair. He had to stand for most of it with his arms sticking out, and rubbing the makeup off at the end of the day was so tough on his body, his skin looked like hamburger meat. He spent time in the sauna to melt off the prosthetics. He and Paul Bettany aren't the only ones to do so. Michael B. Jordan went through a similar process to remove all those scar marks. Number 25. She's calling it like she sees it. Evangeline Lilly absolutely adores her costume. It makes her feel sexy. She thinks it's cool, killer, powerful, modern, strong,
And it made me feel like a superhero.
She also called out all the men for complaining about their suits. She was surprised it wasn't so bad, which led her to question if men are just used to feeling more comfortable in their clothing, while she wears heels to work all day.
You get used to it, you tune it out.
That's 25 actors who had a lot of feelings about their costumes. Just let the actors complain, okay? Every time they walk into one of those interview rooms, it's the equivalent of being asked, "Hi honey, how was your day?" Whose complaints surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching.